Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, everyone in between and everywhere, tuning in on this Saturday afternoon in a beautiful Bruges under overcast clouds for a momentous occasion. The reigning European champs taking on the reigning Irish champs, some people consider those comparable achievements, in the semi-final of xEUCF 2021, a date with destiny, 2 years in the making, and a commentator who is in his boots shaking to keep me steady, to keep me ready, and to keep me well. The one, the only, Ravi Vasudevan is with me in the booth. How you feeling, Ravi?
Lorcan, thank you very much. I'm feeling great. We've got a great matchup here. Ranelagh getting over bad skid in their semi-final universe point thriller. 7 turnovers on that one universe point, but Ranelagh managed to squeak through the Germans. CUSB La Fotta took an early loss in this tournament, losing the Mooncatchers' first game, gone undefeated since then, and now find themselves against the strong Irish squad. Here we go, semi-final action to see who's going to face Clapham tomorrow in the final.
And we open up with a brick, which is a little typical. I've seen some fantastic pulling this weekend, in fairness, but all it's done is reinforce me how important it is to get the pull right.
And how ridiculous it is that so many people don't get it right.
It's a tough skill. I've never been able to good enough to do it, so.
Yeah, but these people are a little better than us, aren't they?
Fairly elite, as we see. The debate about who's going to go get the disc. The two handlers starting 2-5. Ben Noonan, Matthew Feely, both originally from Ballincollig in Cork. Came out of the school system there. Trained by originally George Pardo, Barry Gleason, Graham DeBarra. I'm sure they're very proud to see how far those young boys have come that they met on that fateful day in 2011. The point of the spear. Rogers makes the first cut, looks for a quick break. He's being marked very tightly, as we will see how Ranelagh get their break happy, quick movement offense going. It's all about how soon can they sit into the flow and how smoothly can they get those breaks. Sam Murphy under pressure immediately, and they are off to the races. Tyke Deavy thinks about the shot for about half a second, then puts it. And that's a great catch by Doyle. Dream start, 1-0.
Strong start from the Irish. A little bit of a wild card there. You saw another Irish face in a white jersey. Podge Sweeney taking the mark on this Italian side. How'd that happen?
Well, there's a long-standing relationship between Pelt and CUSB La Fotta. We've Davide More, Fabio Coppi, Giovanni Santucci played for us when we came third at Windmill. And we're just good friends, always see each other. Podge and a few other people went over and played with La Fotta a few times. This isn't the first time Podge has picked up with La Fotta at Euros. He loves playing for them. He plays primarily a D-line handler. He has a burning animosity, competitive animosity, and deep-seated hatred, like all Pelt people do, of Ranelagh and Dublin, and generally people who end words like this. Oh. So, you can only begin to imagine how much information he has had about each of these specific players. He's played with them on Irish teams. He's played with them in university, and he's played against them the entirety of his playing career. No one is more informed about Ranelagh outside of Ranelagh, except for maybe myself, you, Liam Grant, and Podge the most of all. So they are going to have all the news they need to try and fight this team. But let's see how much that fighting gets them against the reigning European champions. Smooth and confident. Gasparini launches one deep himself. Lots of running. Bodies underneath it. Nobody reads it correctly, and it sails over the top. Ronan Callahan is a tall, tall man.
Michele Angela, one of their top receivers, played amazingly against Clapham in the final 2 years ago when they won. That was a team that no one really stood out. It was hard to pick like who's the best player on the team that year because just playing solidly, but Angela was one of those. But Ranelagh forcing a turn early on.
And a huge shot all the way downfield, looking for Stephen Jones, the man who caught the point to send them into the semi-final. But he is being marked by Riccardo Zanni. Zippy O-line player, came up through the Italian junior system. I believe captained them to gold in 2017.
I believe you. I believe you.
So the Italians are going to have another look at it. How do you feel about Ranelagh's first shot just being shoot it deep?
I like it. Test it out.
Exactly. Classic D-line attitude. You got to test it out. Zanni, big opportunity, and it is captured by Ronan Callahan. Massive layout D, and you could see Ranelagh came to fight.
So a little flustered here are CUSB La Fotta. 2 turnovers on their first O-line possession.
Dean McCreary with the disc. He has McNamara in the middle and hits him immediately, no hesitation. The swing going around to Jones. Jones decides he doesn't like the first cut, doesn't like the second. Back to McNamara again. McCartney looked off Jones. Now they hit McCreary, and it's a beautiful pop. Is that Callahan for the double? Happiness! 2-0.
That's a break for Ranelagh, starting things off 2-0, realizing, you know, many people think this might be a fluke that they're here, but they're trying to prove to the world, no, we belong here. We belong against the likes of CUSB La Fotta, against Clapham. Ireland's here too.
Absolutely do. Ireland are representing, and let's be honest, it was the women who blazed the trail to European relevancy for our island nation. But we've been bringing it up behind them a little bit. We've started to. Maybe not so much on the international scene in the same impact they have had, but following on from Gravity's lead, who started first of all by winning in the UK and now themselves playing in a semi-final on the other stream, which please do go watch as well, either live or later on.
So I've seen this before. So 2 years ago when La Fotta won the championship against Clapham, a lot of people remember that game. 15-7, their O-line played perfectly. Great stuff. But if you looked at the semi-final from that year, they played against Real 5 from Russia. Also a team that people didn't really consider to be in there. And what happened there? Their O-line played pretty badly. And actually the D-line had to win it in the second half. So even if La Fotta has some trouble this game, I wouldn't be surprised to see their D-line pick it up, come back and win it later in the game. And even if, you know, I've just seen their O-line can be shaky at times. Sometimes win perfectly, but sometimes make a lot of mistakes.
And there's a big pull. Zani fields it. Oh, sorry, that wasn't Zani. That was DeLuca. And Laffy, really talismanic for them. Laffy. As the intensity, as it's just starting, it's only going to get harder to keep these guys out of our way, which we understand very much. When you're just in that moment, you don't care about the live stream, you care about the opportunity for gold, and we understand.
Who can blame them?
Get out of our way, but we understand. As Gasparini, shimmy, shake, sends it down the line. Trombetti, back, DeLuca. Trying to find Gasparini, but Ranelagh putting so much pressure on every single pass. Trombetti gets it back into the middle. Waiting there for his Tonelli. Lovely break attempt, but just too hot off the hands of Gasparini. This Ranelagh defense is real intense.
Very impressed by it so far, Lorcan.
Callahan says no to Keenum. And now he floats it all the way around for him, but it just dropped short. That is a smart look by Callahan. And that one's coming back in just about, wedging in the chest of Gasparini. Or Gasparini has now wedging the chest of DeLuca. Gasparini with the disc, front of the end zone, trying to get it back to DeLuca. And again, just bounces off his hands.
Look, I have to say I'm very impressed by this Ranelagh defense. I was watching them warm up. And they were doing a little 7-on-7 end zone drill. A lot of turns being generated. And I was thinking, that's not looking so good for their O-line. But it was actually just their defense was amazing. Causing a lot of those turns, forcing a lot of errors. And here, you know, they haven't gotten blocks really, but there's so much pressure on every cut. That's going to eventually turn something around. And they've gotten 2 turns already on this CUSB La Fotta O-line. Maybe getting a second break in a row here.
They're certainly hoping for one as Callahan gets it up the line. Thinks about the big deep shot. Really just shrugs DeLuca off him. Keenan to Jones. Jones sees McNamara and just hangs one up there. McNamara. McNamara almost gets it. McCartney can't corral on the second go. And then the Italians look to hit back as quick as they can. Arturo Laffy launches one of his own, and now Jones is going to have to battle, but he's just burned and collected by Cini.
Cini's such a nice big target. Actually, when that shot went up, it's not some people think that's a pretty bad shot, but the CUSB La Fotta O-line doesn't actually have a lot of ups. And big shots up, that's how Moon beat them in the first game. That's kind of their weakness. So I don't hate that big floaty huck. He actually came down with it, but they're going to keep doing that, and I think it might work out for him later on this game.
I think credit where credit is due. I imagine Ranelagh came to that same conclusion, noticing the weaknesses. A lot of people got to shop for weaknesses in the CUSB store, thanks to them losing the first game of the tournament.
But that's what I'm saying. I've seen this CUSB team show weakness and then show perfection, so never count them out. Yes, they've had a shaky start. They've had 2 offensive points where they've had 2 turnovers. That's not what you want to do starting off in a game like this. One turned into a break, one they managed to get back, but they can sharpen up. They have a lot of mental fortitude. It's a lot of what this team has worked on over the past few years.
They've been here before several times. No one from Ireland has been here before.
Ranelagh has told me their top result ever has been quarters. And is that true, actually? Actually, not sure they've been quarters.
No, this is the first time they ever made quarters.
It's
the first time an Irish Open team made quarters.
They lost to Alba on Universe in a pre-quarter in 2018. That's what it was. So they were 1 point away from making quarters. Close enough, but yeah, now making it two steps further and trying to make that last leap into the final.
So another brick. This time it's going to be fielded immediately by Rogers.
Are you allowed to pick up the pull and throw it to a teammate as they're walking away from it?
Yes.
I don't think you are.
Don't question me. Yes, Ferdio Rogers, and there's that standard open play by Ranelagh. Surprised that's still working. People haven't quite cottoned on to it. Peters, I'll give a shout out to his mum. Happy birthday. And Feely scampering ahead to collect it. It's going to be travel called by Mastroianni downfield.
It's going to come back. Still arguing about it, which I think is a useless endeavor. Nothing's going to change at this point.
Why, because they're Italian?
No, just because, I mean, that's the call. They're not going to retract it if you're not going to, a travel call like that. There's calls you can talk about, but a call like that, nothing's going to happen.
That's interesting. So you think there's, so because there's different, I see how some travel calls you're not going to call back, but on that one, I can see a little bit of a case for it. And they had Feely, a very accomplished thrower, free and easy, looking into the end zone with two of their best cutters staring right back at him.
Still more discussion about it, though, Lorcan.
Well, it's about to come back in. Peters being marked by Franceschi. Lovely flick into Rogers in the middle. And now to Feely. He's got Murphy immediately in front of him, decides against it. I think Mastroianni was trying to sneak in there and get a layout. He's poached. Immediate recognition by Ranelagh, swinging to the opposite side. Really good break. And then floating it out for Doyle. He's got to toe the line. Too far.
Hard for me to see from this angle, Lorcan. Obviously, every Ranelagh player is calling it in. Every CUSB player calling it out.
That's how it's going to go. I love that recognition immediately. Mastroianni tried to go for a poach, thinking that they would be dedicated to the up the line like a lot of teams are. Feely saw it bounce to the opposite side and hung a curve out there for Murphy.
Turnover.
Going to be a turnover, so CUSB get the chance to get there, break back. Go
Seems
back.
like they went to Will Martin for perspective there on the sideline.
Fair enough.
Another Irish perspective.
Irish adjacent. Currently in Amsterdam, so he's Dutch and therefore impartial. Mastroianni, the maestro, looking to make a little bit of magic here with his D-line. Tagliabiello. There's been a few conversations so far in the game, but I like it when there's conversations early if there stops there being too many conversations later. Because if you're going to call something at the end of a game, you should be calling it at the start of a game.
Interesting here, a good spirit from Ranelagh saying, actually, Barsazzi gave it right back. Ranelagh saying, no, actually, that didn't affect me at all. You can take the disc back. So they're actually arguing for the opposite of what you would think they would be arguing for.
Very spirited team. Tagliabiello gets it back into the middle. Thinking about the deep shot, but putting it back in the chamber.
The German import Horschenmeyer there, giving it to Mastroianni.
Mastroianni. Searching, and this is great pressure by the Ranelagh O-line. Looks like they're going to get the disc back. They have right in front of the end zone immediately. Feely doesn't want to waste any time. He's looking for a pop quick. It's not the best throw. And you can see just a little bit disappointed in himself.
Tragic throw like that when you have a wide open cut. Just got to float it out, make it flat. You just kind of pop that thing up.
It's perhaps nerves just playing on them a little bit. This is a big occasion. This is a big moment. Semi-final of EUCF, and that's a big throw. That's it. God, that's a fantastic grab. I don't know how Spizo came down with it, and he floats one out. Really well taken by Liviello.
Massimo Tagliabiello with an amazing grab. Actually, I believe that's Dave Barsazzi, if I'm not mistaken. He might be wearing the wrong number, but that looks like the young star to me. I'll try to get confirmation on that. But
either way, got up huge. And was under a decent bit of pressure. That first grab by Spizo, though, Gabriel Spizo on the hook, very, very confusing. I'm not sure how he jumped, but then he seemed to catch it at waist height with both his hands separately. I'm not sure.
Well, whatever it did, it worked. Off of the big launch throw by Torben Horschmeier, the youth pickup from Germany. CUSB La Fotta always taking a few pickups. They like to learn from other cultures, like to try and bring top players to learn from them. He's one of those new guys this year, coming on, playing on the D-line. He's from originally from a team called Bora in Germany. Has been really good on the German youth national teams, is actually on the short list for the German World Games roster, and is trying to get some experience here with this elite club team here. Though funnily enough, the club team he's playing with here lost to Mooncatchers, whereas his club, Bora Bears, who are here, beat Mooncatchers later in the tournament, so maybe he traded with the wrong team.
Should have stuck with Bora.
If he cares about beating Mooncatchers, he should have. But maybe he cares more about being in the semi.
Learning as much as he can, and going all the way to the final, perhaps. Feely, hoping that isn't going to be a trend. Ben Noonan tries to float that one out in front of Rogers. Big layout, and he collects it.
Seems to be a call on the play.
Rogers doesn't have too much of an interest.
It's an in-out call.
Oh.
A lot of people want to give their perspective. A few shirts in black, a few shirts in white, raising their hands.
It's going to be a lot of discussion on these kind of going to the crowd calls, especially on the far sideline, where we don't have the benefit of our wonderful camera crew.
I do hope this isn't a taste of things to come, Lorcan. There have been a lot of long discussions for a few points.
Yeah, and it's not like they're settling things or they're establishing things for later in the game. Like a lot of them has been in-out calls, and that's not super encouraging. But every turnover counts. 2-2, Ranelagh hoping to hold serve. Turnover.
So La Fotta here with a chance to get a break back. We see the Irishman going to pick up the disc, Podge Sweeney, the man from Pelt.
He's going to be looking forward to this, licking his lips at the possibility of fighting these players again. Different jersey, same battle. Just about gets that break around Feely. Spreading it out wide. Carasini.
This will be the second break on the trot for CUSB.
And Ranelagh had the chance to get 2 breaks on the trot themselves. Carasini shoots it to the end zone. Taken in well just in front of it. Galarota tries to get the pop, and on the second ask, Venturoli secures it, 3-2.
So now, Ranelagh went up a break early. CUSB have gotten 2 back, so now CUSB are in the advantage in the driver's seat, 3-2, they're up. La Fotta looking strong, like I said. Their O-line might make some mistakes, but their D-line's usually going to win it back for them.
It's a very powerful D-line, and it's got a lot of different looks. Those were largely 2 different D-lines that just got those breaks.
Very much so.
A ridiculous level of ability to have, and it's fairly demoralizing if you're Ranelagh.
When you've got a scene as deep as Bologna do, you can bring a deep squad to have not only a first D-line, a second D-line, maybe even a third. You're ready to get break after break after break. Timeout called here by Ranelagh after getting broken twice in a row.
They're trying to avoid breathing any life into the reality you just spat into the world, break after break after break. What are you doing, cursing these people?
I've seen CUSB do it a few times.
Once they get rolling. But that is also something that you can say about Ranelagh, and they never give up the fight. I remember quite distinctly, Pelt were playing them in a final. This was years and years ago when we wound up winning our first ever title, finally vanquishing them. There was just a random Limerick man who was wandering around the University of Limerick where the finals were on, and he just stopped to watch, as so many people do. They're intrigued. This is a beautiful sport, and that's why we're hoping to grow it through ULTI.TV. Subscribe, join our Patreon. And he said, and we only beat Ranelagh by 3 or 4 points. He said, those boys about Ranelagh, they would have played till the sun went down. And that's them through and through. Heart, guile, it's just what they have. They might be a little shaken by the moment. They might be fresh to this kind of experience. But heart is universal. It is a denominator. They're not going to stop fighting, even if they have a couple of really rough throwaways, even if they have a couple of tough in-out calls. They're going to keep coming. Now, I know that the sun doesn't exist in Belgium, But whatever it is that starts night here, until that happens, these boys will be fighting.
Find out soon. I do think the weather is scheduled to get worse and worse as this round goes on and into the next one. Hopefully, we can stay somewhat dry here in the semifinal round. So CUSB La Fotta bringing out their D-line again. Mastroianni to pull.
And this time the spin pull works out.
Does
well,
it? Does it?
It stayed in bounds. Not too bad. There's the call. It might just be a zone. Matthew Feely all alone in the middle of the pitch and just lashing one deep to Ferdio Rogers. And it's perfect. That's a response.
Amazing stuff there. Ferdio Rogers usually launching those throws rather than tracking them down, but showing that he can do it on both sides of the disc. They know that CUSB have studied this team. They know that CUSB probably expect him to be more of a thrower, and they just take advantage of that. Great stuff from Ranelagh, coming out of getting broken twice. Confident offense point, and now we're back even to 3-3.
And it is all tied up. They're going to need to get a break. Remember, they didn't start on serve, or they did start this half on serve, so that's going to be a risk for them. That's an old school Ranelagh play, sending somebody deep straight out of the handler position. I'm sure lots of people have it, but they've been running that one for a long time. They used to have Connor Hogan do it quite a lot because he was, you'd see him, that's the established thrower. That's the guy who's going to be running the show, and he'd take off. Tough to pull off more than once. As you can see, it was a perfect throw, and there were two defenders very close to Rogers as they recognized it, but slightly too late. Ranelagh D-line coming back out here. They've proven they can get turns. They've proven they can really make this CUSB offense uncomfortable.
As far as I'm aware, I don't think CUSB had a clean hold yet. I think both times we've seen the CUSB O-line, they've gotten turned twice. So we'll see if Ranelagh can continue that.
So Riccardo Zani is going to pick up the disc. He's flanked by Kopi on his right. Alessandro De Luca on his left.
A horizontal stack downfield, ready to give him options against this Ranelagh defense.
They start moving immediately. Ranelagh staying as tight as they can. Attempting the deep shot, Tonelli. Sets it and sits it into the middle of the pitch. Kopi collects. Just moving. McCreary trying to get that disc. McNamara is going to be all over Gasparini. That is quite a matchup to watch. And he gets a great break off. Just about gets it to DeLuca. Bit of a backpack by Jones on Zani. And you can see how physical, how close the Ranelagh players are playing CUSB. And CUSB seem more than happy to match it.
Amazing intensity here, Lorcan. Every cut has to be a full sprint to get away from these Ranelagh defenders.
Kopi down the line to Zani. And he just sits it. And that one just drops out of the sky. The final throw falling fatefully.
I know some might consider that an unforced error. I would not. I think they have pressure D, team defense. There wasn't a block, but they're forcing those tough throws every time, and they came up with one of them there. Ranelagh with a chance to break. Again, CUSB O-line has not scored cleanly yet.
McCreary sits that one up beautifully for Callahan. He's just going to launch it deep, but maybe threw it too soon.
Didn't quite have the right float on that he needed to get it into space. His receiver was open.
I believe that was Sam Micklem. But yeah, slightly mistimed. And it's difficult to hang those throws up in these conditions right now. Tonelli with the disc, rescuing it in some ways. You see how much pressure they are constantly under. Tonelli gets into Angela. Angela sends it wide and out. Gini. Tonelli. Eventually he's able to get it back in, and Riccardo Zani collects. Spreading it out across the pitch, Gasparini. Cheeky little pop in, Tonelli. Tonelli tries to get it back to Gasparini. McNamara goes for the bid, doesn't quite get there. And they get the score in the hands of Angela.
A little bit less intense that second possession by the CUSB offense. They seem to be not quite on the full sprint they needed. Maybe Ranelagh lost a little bit of gas putting them all out there in the first one. So CUSB, O-line looking shaky. And for Ranelagh, you know, I said I like those deep shots at the beginning, but they should try once it tries to play a clean offense as well. See if they can get it, because they're getting the opportunities, but if they keep squandering them, the CUSB O-line will eventually get their stuff together, and it'll be harder and harder to have a break.
So they need to take these opportunities now. Why do you think it's going to get harder and harder for them to get a break as the game progresses?
I feel that the CUSB line looks shaky, and I feel that it's possible that they might become more solid as they realize that as they rise to the level of pressure they're receiving. So they're getting opportunities against a team like CUSB. You have to cherish those opportunities, and right now they're squandering them a little bit. That's all I'm trying to say. They might. I'm not saying the defense is going to get worse, but I believe that this CUSB line, maybe they weren't underestimating how much pressure they were going to see, and now they can rise to that occasion. They've played well against a defense like Clapham. They played well against other defenses all around the world. So
that makes a lot of sense to me as Ranelagh looking to get the score. Noonan collects and immediately going down the line. It's Feely, they get it to him. Now, is this a zone or is this just really poaching man?
I think it's just sagging off the handlers mainly.
Used, no second thoughts, launches that one, and again, it's Rogers in the receiving position. You think one thing, they do another. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Saw Rogers had 2 defenders on him, but there was one moment that both defenders guarded him under, and Ferdia immediately saw that opportunity and went deep. It was just a moment. Just a moment, a little miscommunication. I think those 2 defenders were trying to say, oh, which one of us supposed to have him deep? He read that beautifully. Yes, the run was impressive, but the intelligence to know when to make that run was what impressed me the most about that play.
He's an incredibly intelligent player. Like you say, with CUSB going all around the world and bring people in from all different cultures and trying to learn about them, these are the Ranelagh players. A lot of them are well-traveled. Ferdia Rogers himself did a tour in Austin with Sol under the tutelage of Bjorn Shea. I was talking to him earlier today. For his money, he reckons Rogers, best handler in Europe. He's obviously going to say that, but
Bjorn Shea is very unbiased.
I mean, he's almost as objective as the most objective commentator in all of European Ultimate, Lorcan Murray. Great man. And there is some legitimacy to it as we see Rogers stay out on the D-line. Now, Ranelagh like to do this every now and again when they feel like we need the break, we need it now. Rogers is a very physical defender. He had some battles with, I believe, Nico Muller in the quarterfinal.
I like that matchup.
I loved it, and I'm very excited to see how he does against Laffy. A big sweeping pass all the way down the pitch, comfortably into the hands of Ndiela. Ndiela looking for options. Not coming straight away. It floats over the first person, falls into the hands of the second. It's a little bit lucky, but it works. Donnelly goes for the break and actually falls over a little bit. Arturo Laffy.
I almost thought he was going to lose that disc on his fake, but he managed to keep it while he was losing balance.
Almost foot block himself. These early exchanges, batting it about. Blow for blow. Donnelly. Derek Keller trying to make him throw it back inside. The throw and go, a lovely touch. Trombetti. Donnelly. And floats one out. 2 players there. And in the end, I believe it's Laffy leaving it for Angela.
Angela there with another score. He's been all over the offensive board, as he usually likes to be on this CUSB offensive line. So Ronald throwing the power line out there. Didn't quite work out for him. It's a gamble, because now Ferdy is going to be a little more gassed than he would otherwise be going on in this next offensive point.
That is quite interesting. These boys train so hard. Ferdy wound up playing, I'd say, I'm eyeballing this, 60 to 70% of the points that they in their quarterfinal game. Stepping onto the O-line every now and again, like Feely, Noonan will also join him on there. They don't mind mixing it up too much when it's called for. Right now they're going back to that original O-line, the one that saw them through the quarterfinal, and that protracted universe points.
That was ridiculous. We have a chance. You want to take a break maybe at halftime here. Just go and open up the Bad Skid Ranelagh quarterfinal stream on YouTube. Watch the last point. 7 turnovers, and most of them were horrendous.
One was really, really good.
Great turnover.
Some were really horrendous. Yeah, exactly. It was just
fine turnover.
A joyous turnover. As a big hook. That's probably the best pull we've seen going into the wind all game so far. Rogers has it immediately in the middle. Used goes deep. It's almost an FSU look. with Mastroianni in the middle. Noonan, well-versed in FSU, would have played a lot of it in college. Murphy splashes that one across the pitch to Doyle. Beautiful blade. You'd think maybe he was from Limerick. Doyle looking to get the dump off, or maybe the assist. Either way, the stall count was getting high. Here's the call.
So he got the foul. Looks for the dump, looks for the assist, takes the foul.
Great call. If you can try and draw them onto you with their own intensity and then have them foul you, that's a free 10 seconds. And he floats it out for Feely, and a score, 5-5.
Nice little tight movement there. It's so hard to guard someone one-on-one. And Ranelagh just isolating a player in the end zone. Nice, easy pass. Good offensive hold, 5-5. Ranelagh still down one break here in this game.
That was a little bit of a Cork connection, Doyle to Feely. Ranelagh, similar in some regards to Clapham in the capital city effect. I imagine it happens in other countries as well. Ireland particularly suffers from having an overpopulous capital city. Most of the jobs are there. So people just naturally find themselves going to Dublin, and then once they're there, they're good at Frisbee. Why not try to be amongst the best? And Ranelagh have been taking this seriously for 2 years to mount this challenge. And at 5-5 in the semi-final, it's starting to seem really worth it.
We'll see if they can hold on to that advantage, or that equalizing force, or if CUSB will pull away. I think many people would consider La Fotta the favorites here. But Ranelagh trying to surprise the rest of Europe as they did against the German powerhouse of Bad Skid earlier today.
Ranelagh, the Irish perform better as underdogs. Have the Irish ever really been favorites for anything that's gone well for us? The one time people started, like Conor McGregor, as soon as he stopped being an underdog, he became a word I'm not going to say on stream. But it rhymes with a small dog. And that one is going to drift out again. I would honestly at this point just go for rolling pulls, but I'm a big fan of rolling pulls.
Well, they work really well on the turf. They roll very far. You can go set up your defense on this type of surface. Not the worst idea.
So Laffy taking it into the middle. And those long appendages of Callahan have been tasked to try and limit the Italian stallion's throws. And he shoots that one straight through the middle to Gini. There's Donnelly in front of him. Almost gets it. Ben Noonan steps across for the hand block.
So there's a little bit of discussion as to whether he hit the disc while it was still in the thrower's hands, or whether he got it off as a hand block. Uncontested foul.
So Ben knew what was going to happen and reacted too quickly. The call goes up.
Looks like
fire on the dance floor. I assume that's something to do with going deep. Gini eventually gets it to Laffy, throws it at him with some pace. Laffy spreads. Gasparini set up to send it back. That was ever so slightly drifting the wrong way. Trombetti, too close. Too call, and Kopi can't get it.
And again, this La Fotta O-line not scoring cleanly. I'd love to see look, if they get an option deep, lash it, but I'd love to see them try and work it once against this O-line.
Well, you might now as Stephen Jones gets the pop and hits it. And it's Ben Noonan stepping over onto the D-line this time to help out in the offensive efforts. Throwing Laffy to the ground. Stephen Jones collects, spreads comfortably. That's Rory Keogh. And that one's going ever so high over McCartney, over about 4 different people, and in the bundle it hits the ground. Gasparini. Tonelli launches it deep himself, and Stephen Jones just ever so slightly wrong-footed. And that would have been something spectacular by Gini.
Throw just a little bit too bladey and a little bit out of position. You want to throw his bladey hucks, you have to be exactly precise.
McNamara chasing it down, collects, and you know he wants to put the spinny flick all the way. 2 Ranelagh players getting in each other's ways. Oh.
I think they fouled each other, or they were calling for a shirt pull.
Pierce almost, I thought for a second Pierce was calling a foul on Jones.
Well, I thought Pierce fouled Jones. If there was any fouling, Jones got in front, and Pierce kind of jostled him, and I think that took him out of position enough to not be able to make the catch. Of course, you can't call a foul on your own player, but now Pierce is going to call that his shirt was pulled. That took him out of position, caused him to foul Jones. A lot of cascading effects here in this play.
Bodies hitting bodies in this intense semi-final matchup. The calls have kind of stopped it from taking on a life of its own somewhat. It's been jagged, segmented in some regards. Which, honestly, after my experience in the quarterfinal, is kind of welcome. I'm sure it will get more intense, but there's only so fast a heart can beat so many times in a day before you just keel over.
So we see Giovanni Ciopo Santucci, the spirit captain, I believe, of CUSB La Fotta, not able to play, but coming in to say, hey, we've had our 30 seconds. If we're not going to convince each other, the disc goes back. And now someone's discussing that with him.
Shirt pulling is a fairly professional foul to call on someone. It's not like, oh, you bumped into me. It's like you actively tried to cheat, which is a fairly grievous thing to accuse someone of.
So we're going to see a contested foul here.
That disc is going to go back. Back to the Mac. Namara. It's got Callahan in the middle. McCarney, who was in the process of coming under when that disc went up. So look out for number 55 doing a break side cut with a bounce. Back to Mara. Working the open channel. Pierce wasting no time trying to get it back to Rory.
That was a break side cut and then the disc bounce. Is that what they called for? Is that the bounce they were talking about?
I have my suspicions it wasn't, Ravi. But you never know. His copy floats that one out beautifully for Gasparini in the middle of the pitch. Gasparini looking for options, but every time he sees a white shirt, he sees a black shadow behind it. Gasparini working with Laffy in the middle. And another great throw. It's a lot of Gasparini and Laffy launches it deep. De Luca's underneath it. Is it going to have enough time? Yes. It seems like yes. That's a score.
It seemed like the way he caught it, kind of jumped, then didn't jump, and caught it again. I thought he was out of bounds. It seemed like he gave up on it before he caught it. That's the body language that I read.
I've never seen someone give up and score, you know?
That's the body language I read. You seeing what I'm seeing there?
Alessandro De Luca is his own man. He's got his own style. And, you know, we're just got to be here and witness it, enjoy it, celebrate it a little bit. They get the score, 6-5. It's been pretty close. But remember, Ranelagh started on offense. They need to get a break back, and they need to get one soon. Otherwise, they risk the out double whammy, which was, well, they did get through the quarterfinal. That was a real turning point in the quarterfinal against them. They had the opportunity to take half. They didn't. Bad skate came out, knocked them both in, went up 9-7, and then again to 10-7. And that kind of three-point gap lasted for a while, and it really judged the game up until Ranelagh were able to close it in the final few stages. And there's only so many times you can get away with a last gasp comeback in a tournament against elite-level European opposition. And doing it to arguably the best German team in ever, followed by arguably the best, well, pretty inarguably the best Italian team ever. That's a tall order.
Yeah, the old soft break. That's winning the first half and then starting on offense the next half. You get kind of this extra break out of that. So yeah, CUSB in a position to do that if they can keep trading.
First of all, Ranelagh will need to secure the offense. Now that is a pull. Ben Noonan immediately under pressure. Oh, that was almost stolen away. Feely thinks about the hook and then goes for it on the second, asking, really nicely weighted. It's going to be a bit of a battle. Murphy's underneath it. Fantastic defense by Sebastian Rossi.
The boy from Rimini playing, I believe he was with Costa Rica 2 years ago, trading over to La Fotta this year along with Barzazzi. Podge Sweeney to pick up. That seems to be his main role on the team, D-line handler.
Primarily D-line handler and keeper of the Ranelagh secrets, which he has spread around this D-line so they can in some ways prepare for the Ranelagh offense. It's very difficult to prepare for. It just keeps attacking your break side and running hard all the time. It's very annoying. But so far, CUSB have been able to match it. Their offense, I think they've had more turns, but they are up. Sweeney getting it down the line, lots of pressure, and it works out. That Doyle clear, they're trying to send it. Murphy was thinking about the layout, but can't get there in time. He's in. Venturoli.
Yeah, he was well out.
Oh, he's well out. I apologize.
Well out.
I thought you were calling him in.
No, I was putting my thumbs towards us. He was well out there.
Very well spirited for Venturoli, just no problem. Puts it down. Rogers thinks about the deep himself, and Feely, there's the cheeky little breaks they love to throw. One after the other. The court connection to Doyle. Almost how Deavy takes Murphy on the quick little pop in front. And there goes Feely. Beautiful throw, clean catch, and an equalizing score, 6-6.
So there, Ranelagh, one turnover involved, but still managed to get another clean hold. CUSB La Fotta, on the other hand, not able to capitalize on their opportunity. 6-6, still even, but as you've said, La Fotta are up one break. I'm interested to see if Ranelagh's D-line will continue to put pressure. I do not believe that the CUSB O-line has scored a point without a turn yet. I think every time they've received the disc, they've given the disc up at least once, which is not what you want to see. But Ranelagh haven't been able to convert most of them.
That is exceptional and disappointing at the same time.
It's often the way it goes in life.
Just like sex with me.
Take your word for it.
You don't have to. We were watching some beautiful ultimate in a, you know, considering Boris's threats, this has actually worked out pretty well for us, although I don't want to tempt the fates by discussing the weather too much and focus instead on the ultimate.
We do see the crowd starting to pour in as some teams finish up their later rounds.
You'll also notice that there are now 2 O-line handlers stepping onto the D-line, Matthew Feely and Ferdio Rogers.
All the matches tomorrow, save for the final, and I believe bronze medal matches have been canceled. So I believe that will make for a quite more raucous, Brooks-Zote-fueled evening in the tent tonight.
Sounds good to me. As McNamara launches one all the way downfield. That's much better pull for Ranelagh. Laffy pops it into the middle. Tonelli has the disc. Sends a nice shot down the field, straight to Gasparini, and he tries to float one up. And collected from Angela. That's the best their offense has looked.
That's very good offense. That little inside break. You saw that very close mark on the sideline. That's dangerous. That flusters weaker throwers, but some good throwers, you mark too close, it makes the break a little bit easier. And that break just opened that flow right away. Nice floaty pass to Angela for the score. First time we've seen a perfectly clean hold from CUSB La Fotta. 7-6 the score. I imagine if I'm La Fotta here, I'm going to stack this line. You want to try and break for half. They have their timeouts. If they tire out an O-line star or two, they can take a timeout, bring them back in on the Galaxy point. This is going to be a tough point for Ranelagh, a very important one.
As CUSB seek to take control of this game and wrap their fingers around the neck of their opponents. We'll move on to the final. 7-6. Seems like a fairly dedicated D-line has gone out there. Yeah,
very D-line heavy. I don't think they're doing what I suggested, but you know, what do I know? Got Mastriani, got Horschmeyer, got Podge Sweeney, Dave Barsazzi.
It's a lot of quality. On the opposite side, it's that same 7.
A lot of new players, though. So what I've heard is this year their starting D-line has lost a lot of their firepower. The Mine brothers no longer there. Chopo is injured. So some faces are going to have to step up for this CUSB La Fotta D-line.
Well, let's see if they can do it. Rogers pops that one inside. A comfortable catch for Murphy in the end, sliding on his knees. Let's get it back to Feely. Feely says no to the break. And you can see Sweeney doing exactly what you were talking about to try and stop those breaks, taking a bit more off it, but he can't stop Feely that time. Rogers looks to get it back to Feely in the middle. Looking for a continuation. This is really great defense by the German on Rogers. But in the end, it gets to Ben, who looks for the shot and collected. They didn't make it. Oh, it's going to go back.
It's going to go back. There's a goal.
Horschmeyer is playing a strong physical defense on Rogers and making him work for every inch.
He's a very, very strong physical defender. Very young. Out of Germany. Making his European debut with CUSB La Fotta. Discussion with Mastriani finished up, and it's a goal, and we have a Galaxy point situation here. Lorcan 7-7.
This has been strangely, not subdued. It's a high level, but the intensity hasn't quite picked up yet. In a couple of incidents, a little disjointed almost, so we'll see what happens now. This is a huge moment. CUSB, with an offensive point, with an offensive hold, will get the soft break. That's what you want. It goes, here's a chance to just hold and we'll give you a break. Whereas Ranelagh need this back. So it'll be interesting to see who they put out. Fairly established D-line for the most part. Taking Rogers, but leaving the rest of them. McCreary, Jones.
In fairness, their D-line's been doing the job. They've been getting turns, so just adding one piece like Rogers to clean up the offense. Not a bad shout.
Doyle as well seems to have come out, so they have a cutter and a handler from the O-line coming to try and just bring a bit of that. Here's how you score against CUSB, guys. It's not that hard attitude to the line.
So we did see the last time CUSB was on offense, they scored their first clean hold. We'll see if Ranelagh can change that around, put some more pressure like they did in the first part of this half.
A big pull by Jack McNamara. Collected comfortably in the bread basket. As here come the Italians. Donnelly floats that one to Copy. Bobbled but collected. Hearts in mouths across Italy and Ireland. De Luca gets it back to Copy. Secures. And there Copy with a big arcing throw. Gasparini against McNamara. Battling it out, and Gasparini, what a way to take half.
Was he in bounds? And there's another call.
So according to the Italian whispers that are currently making their way across our sideline, that's a foul call by McNamara.
McNamara calling a foul on Gasparini?
I imagine.
Yeah. So an offensive receiving foul.
Not one of the more common calls you hear in our sport.
No, and if it's uncontested, it's a turnover.
I am
because of
highly skeptical it's going to be uncontested.
We'll see how the discussion goes. Chopo's involved. Chopo, very spirited player, very spirited man, so he will make sure it's fair.
Sometimes commentator here, so fluent in English and Italian as well, which is always incredibly useful.
What about Irish? How good is Irish?
We taught him some words, words that, for monetization reasons, we won't repeat.
So that's going to be a goal. The foul call
half.
retracted, and CUSB La Fotta take half 8-7 with the soft break.
It's going to be a big moment. They will be receiving when they come back at halftime, and we will come back too to enjoy the second half. Ranelagh looking to be the first Irish Open team to make it to a European final. CUSB looking to get back and retain their championship. Keep it here with ULTI.TV. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
And we are back in action for the second half of the semi-final. The second semi-final, Clapham waiting, salivating already for Sunday. But before then, Ireland and Italy will go to war. Ranelagh, based out of Dublin, CUSB, based out of Bologna. One an institution, the other one an upstart. Second half.
8-7 the score here. CUSB winning first half, up 1 break.
Tonelli thinks about a huck, launches it. Deevy's down there fighting, and he gets it pretty easily. It wound up dropping straight into his path. Deevy against Cheney is a fun matchup as well.
Yeah, but the throw just not on. Cheney would have to come back for that. Deevy doing a great job just holding position, battering it to the ground.
Rogers once again coming out on the D-line. I think it's the 3rd D-line point he's played this game. Hits Jones on the under. Continuing down the pitch. It's a smooth shot all the way to the end for Deevy, and that's exactly what Ranelagh wanted to do. Kyo to Deevy, 8-8.
Bookends for Deevy. They get 1 break back, but so right now we're even on breaks. But as I said, CUSB gets the soft break, so Ranelagh will still need 1 more to be able to win this game. But great start. They put a little bit of O-line power. They put a power line, start the half, do it with confidence. They're not out. They're not like scared, oh, we're down to break against CUSB. No, they come out, take it back, 8-8.
What do they have to lose, Ravi? They've already won more than they ever have before. They fought 4 years to try and get to the European Championships, and honestly, it was always a feather in Pelt's cap that we got on our first go, because they formed a club, Dublin Ultimate, which, depending on who you listen to, none of those players I think are still with Ranelagh, was kind of the first origins of having a Ranelagh team, a dedicated Dublin Open club team to push for Elite Ultimate, and that was the main shot that they were going for. To see it starting to reach a peak now with the next generation of players who were brought in, trained from a young age in college, in schools, by the original established powers of Dublin Ultimate, to see them flourish now under the bright grey clouds of Belgium against the reigning European champions.
But do these conditions suit an Irish team or an Italian team better? Let's be honest. Come on.
I feel like
this is Ireland's home. They feel right at home in this kind of weather.
Absolutely. I genuinely thought the rain would help. If they were in mud, that would be even better. As you can see, now McCarney tries to tighten it on DeLuca. Zani. Gasparini. Look at how hard they have to work, and that one goes over the top, and Laffy's going to collect it smoothly and launch one of his own, arcing to the opposite side of the pitch, and clap catch for the score. Michel Angela.
Angela with the score. Great stuff from CUSB, looking better after giving up a break early. Ferdy Rogers there playing another point. How many points in the second half do you think he's going to not play?
2.
Okay.
I'm going to guess 2.
Over under 2. I'm definitely thinking he's coming back out on this O point. We'll see how many D points. That's 2 D points to start the half, 2 D points with Ferdy Rogers on the line.
Yep. He's going to play every O point. Well, they might not play, so there's certain D points they might swap in Feely, Noonan, as well as maybe throwing Peters or Doyle on, as they have in the past as well. We'll see how they respond. They got the first break, which was a big deal, but they basically just set it up with that break for the situation they were in before half.
So as I said before, the crowd's starting to pour in. I see a lot of Clapham boys watching this game. See a lot of Gentle behind us, Wall City. See a few of them around as well.
Everybody's coming to enjoy the match, and with the games cancelled tomorrow, I imagine there'll be a fair bit of drinking on the sidelines too. Mercifully, we set up before the crowd appeared, unlike when half of the town of Ghent came to watch the other semi-final, and our poor commentators were operating off a monitor. But it was great to see that kind of support for an Ultimate Frisbee team.
Yeah, Ghent, a huge club with about 350 players, a lot of them coming to support their team, just about a half an hour away from Bruges.
I'm pretty sure everything in Belgium is half an hour away. Feely. Doyle is burning deep. Instead, they opt for the throw out wide to Deevy. Let's see. Deevy waits until the force comes close to him before breaking it. And that's just that Ranelagh spirit. They're trying to force them flick. Right-hand flick, I should say. As Noonan stretches and spreads all the way to the opposite sideline. And Murphy, brilliant throw. Lovely inside to Doyle. And then he's got Deevy, doesn't want him for the pop. Instead hits Rogers. This is his first touch of the point, so for all the points he's playing him smart. Noonan has the chance to finish it to Rogers, decides not to. Good force.
I think a pick was called. I'm not sure what's going on exactly in this point. Stoppage of play, though.
Noonan faking that big arcing backhand, instead takes the easy open And the BCS boys get a point, 9-9.
Just fantastic grinding, safe offense there by Ranelagh. Very impressive stuff against a D-line like CUSB. So 9-9, nothing between these teams. It's going to be who's going to make a little slight error, a little slight mistake might be the difference between them in this game.
It's going to come down to that, which is a testament to the elite level that Ranelagh are playing at against the European champions, stepping up and meeting them in a field where they would feel quite comfortable. CUSB, I mean. They're used to these semi-finals. They've had heartbreaking semi-finals. Sometimes it seems like before you can truly have glory, you have to have brutal, crushing heartbreak. And that's something CUSB know very, very well. And I imagine are more than happy to help share that experience with other clubs around Europe.
Yeah, but like we said, Ranelagh last time around had a crushing universe point loss in pre-quarters against Alba, the new upstarts from Scotland. So they've had their share of defeats as well. They've lost to Pelt a few times in All-Ireland finals, I've heard, once or twice.
Once or twice. This is, not to put down All-Ireland finals, this is a different level.
Yeah?
Top 8 at the Euros.
We're in top 4 here, buddy.
We're in the top 4 now. That's the rarefied air, the Elite 8. What you'd say, that's the goal. All the elite clubs make quarters. And then, sure, if you clap and CUSB, you're like, all right, we're coming here to win. But the baseline is make quarters, and then you can consider yourself an elite club. CUSB centers it to the middle. Fabio Coppi. Coppi, Gasparini. Zani. Ranelagh going with their zone again. Zani throwing McCreary to the floor. Almost disrespectful.
Wind really picking up here.
Trombetti bounced out of his hands, and as you say it, the wind is starting to influence a little bit, and it forced that one out a bit quicker than I think Trombetti was expecting it. So now, McCreary giving it to the camera. He's a superstar in the making, this young man. And that is a smooth, composed throw. Keenan, McCartney looks to pop it to Bogan, and that's the Limerick connection, baby. Now McCartney, Tyke Bogan taking the lead, and I'm going to give a slight assist to Pelt.
Slight assist to Pelt given by Lorcan. He would never be one to give Pelt any credit for something they don't deserve. 10-9, CUSB a little out of sorts here. Their O-line not been steady, and now their D-line offense is starting to be a little more clinical and just converting better.
This is just open side, gut check time. 1, 2, 3, down the line. Now McCartney, Tyke Bogan.
Fancy footwork there by Bogan. He was right on that line.
He's got those delicate ballerina feet. That comes from when he was younger and he used to do a lot of basketball.
There's a timeout here being called, I believe, by CUSB La Fotta. You're talking about ballerinas. Have you seen any of Wall City this tournament?
I haven't got to, which has actually kind of annoyed me because I've heard so much about them.
Yeah, they made it to the quarters against Clapham, had a very good tournament. Conrad Schlur, one of their players, has come over from New York. Has some German nationality, came over to play with the German national team, moved over for that, really liked Berlin, found a girlfriend, found a job, and now he's kind of situated there. Doing a lot of good work to rise that team up. He brought up playing in New York, playing for Pony. He was on that team that beat Revolver, that kind of ended Revolver's reign. Got huge thighs, amazing athleticism. Apparently he started out as a ballet dancer.
Wow.
Literally.
Well, it's a fantastic thing to get into. It's a very tough life to live professionally, I hear. But you can see where it would come in useful here. Football feet is another term for it. Again, Americans have a bit of experience there. But we're not talking about America right now. As much as you like to every now and again, you yank, you gave it up. You're European now. Hell, I heard you speaking French yesterday.
I don't know why I brought up America.
This is all about Europe, playing an American sport. Ranelagh from Dublin. CUSB, Bologna, the reigning European champs, and the fiery Irish upstarts.
Those upstarts right now in the lead late in the game, 10-9. This is about where I saw Real 5 against CUSB in the semi 2 years ago. They were able to come back from that one, but Ranelagh a bit deeper of a team. The problem with that Real 5 team that they went up against, they have like six or seven, nine like elite players. They have more on the bench, but in that game they were only running through those 9. Eventually they ran out of legs. Ranelagh, I don't see that here. Yes, Ferdy is playing a lot of points, but their D-line is going in and in and in. Ferdy's back out on the field again. That's a timeout. That's a chance for Ferdy to rest, take another point on. So of course he's going to use that.
Ranelagh hoping to twist the screws even tighter. Luke Doyle also making the trip over from the O-line. Zizi Laffy, Yazani in the middle. De Luca to his right, opts to send it down to the opposite sideline. Trombetti, that is a gutsy throw. Laffy throws it out in front, chasing down after Langella. He's got Kyo on him. The first bounce. off the hand, and that is some great defensive pressure.
It takes a lot to force Angela to go up early and put pressure on that man. He makes huge grabs routinely, but Ranelagh, defense has been just incredible. I've been very impressed with this Ranelagh D-line.
As you should be. They have fought constantly. They are literal shadows on the CUSB team. Every single inch is a battle. And it was the same thing I said in the bad SIG game. They make every step a fight. And it's hard to keep doing that.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Ranelagh play much this tournament. I said this before, in the warm-up, I saw their D-line winning on their O-line, and I was scared of their O-line. But it's just because their D-line's that good.
Rogers launches one deep when he didn't see much coming under, and Doyle tries to correct and does so, just about keeps it in bounds. They're going to call him out again, I think.
Are these lines very faint for anybody else? I feel like people are not really able to see the lines very well on this turf field, not usually able to use real field paint.
Nope, he's been called back in.
Okay, disc in.
Doyle, he has Jones. Jones clears out. The stall count getting higher. Ticking like a time bomb. He's forced to let that one go, and what a shot! Kaboom! Nope. No, they're going to call that. That's a goal being called.
There is a lot of discussion here. I think the back line is what we're talking about now.
The lines issue actually has become fairly prominent in this game, which is not something I anticipated.
There's a lot of discussion. Looking at the replay, I don't think we can really see the line on the camera, so it's going to be hard for us to make a judgment. You see the disc going up. Yeah, we're just going to end up seeing him catch it. Very hard to see there.
Not conclusive at all, so.
I could see that being out, but it's really hard to tell.
So watch out. And I guess that's going to have to go back then to Doyle.
I think that might be the right call. It was even hard for me to tell on the camera. Sometimes you don't know what's going on, and you know that's what we do in Ultimate. Just do it again.
Surely this is coming in at stalling 6. The highest that it can come in at. You can hear the Italians talking about what they're going to do. 4 seconds of intense defense, we get this disc back. And that's exactly what happens. Doyle was forced to rush something. Really smart play by the Italians to recognize it. And a lovely throw all the way down the pitch to Zani. Young, zippy, and with some great break throws. Pops it to Laffy. And there's another flick shot, sits it out. 3 Ranelagh defenders. None of them will matter because Gasparini's in the area. What a score.
Incredible grab by Gasparini. I thought one of those Ranelagh defenders was going to get in front of him, but he just turned on the Jets, kept his composure, and took that score for La Fotta. We're at 10-10 here, Lorcan, in this semifinal. Wow, it's an exciting game.
It has been top drawer, and this second half has picked up to a pace that the first half kept threatening to do. I got to tell you, I saw that go up, and I remember Callahan was one of the defenders, and I was thinking, those are 3 Ranelagh defenders. They've recognized that. They're good players. You're not going to beat Gasparini, man.
Well, they didn't. They didn't.
If he has that step and he can pick his own angle and time his jump to the disc, I don't think God's beaten Gasparini.
Well, we don't need to test him against God. Got to test him against the Irish here. 10-10. Ireland still with the advantage. If they keep holding and trading out this game, they can still come away with it, but I doubt it's going to be that clean here. We still got a lot of points left to go. Both these D-lines are hungry. Both these D-lines are going to end up getting some turns, and it's going to be who can capitalize on those, who can keep their composure when things get tight. Wow, we got a great game here in semifinals. Ranelagh, CUSB La Fotta, trying to get a spot against Clapham tomorrow.
And we have some other great games as well. There's the women's semifinal happening on the other feed right now, and then we have the mixed semifinals happening just after this. So plenty of action left to go today. But first of all, we have the final exchanges. The last third, 10-10. 5 points away from glory for either of these teams. Rogers and Feely working together. Rogers with the quick break and a fantastic layout D. There's going to be a call of the contact from Murphy.
There's a bit of jostling before the play, and I think that did definitely take Murphy off of his path. Uncontested foul here.
Uncontested foul. Very fair-minded. So Murphy. Doyle wants him to lash it. Instead goes for the under to Deavy. Sees Doyle. Big commitment on the defensive end. Barzazzi flying through the air. And Doyle puts it to DV in the end zone. Nika legs it for the score.
That's 11-10. Ranelagh hold on to their lead. Barsasi making a heroic effort, but could not force a turn by Ranelagh. You see CUSB La Fotta very deflated. The body language interesting here. They are upset about that point. I don't know if they blew a force or did something incorrect. They seem to be upset about, I mean, it was just a very strong point by Ranelagh. I don't know why they're so upset right now.
I feel like Barsasi felt like he had that. You know, if you're on the shoulder of somebody, you see the disc go up and you think, this is mine, and go for that crazy athletic bid.
Here we're going to see that bid there. Wow, what an athletic play by Barsasi. Impressed a lot of people at the Bologna Invite back in, I believe it was 2019, back when there was the Italy under-24 campaign. I showed up to that tournament, I was covering it. Someone told me, hey, there's this young kid, got a layout D and a hand block on Justin Ford. I think he was like 17 or 18 at the time. So very athletic player, trying to make plays for La Fotta here.
Ravi's encyclopedic knowledge of Ultimate just put like a little asterisk next to that. He goes, what? Hand block? And on who again?
Yeah,
Barsasi.
Barsasi, a player to watch out for.
Especially if you're Luke Doyle and he's coming over your shoulder. That is a lovely pull, arcing all the way back in. Just about. Centered to Laffy, DeLuca to Laffy. Laffy, smooth to copy. Gasparini. And this is a bit more fluid, I was just about to say. That's happened a few times. They have been lucky on numerous occasions with those. Zani working with Laffy, weaving their way through. Copy now in front of the end zone. And this is some La Fotta-inspired offense. And Zani not going for the pop and forced to go back. Instead, Gasparini. Oh, Tonelli, that's a
dangerous play.
It's a dangerous play.
Dangerous play, a little bit of contact there. You see Tonelli very banged up after the play.
He's back up, he's standing on his own power.
I think it was that leg coming from behind, contact there.
It's always difficult, the acute angle collisions, two players coming from separate directions and attacking the same point.
Given the way he's hopping, I'm really surprised. Given the way he's hopping, I'm really surprised he hasn't taken himself out of this point, but.
Tonelli's a tough man. Laffy, he's an artistic one, has a lot of throws. Gasparini, you see Ranelagh keeping in their zone, even in front of the end zone, just trying to get some panic. That's a difficult thing to do to the European champions. Zani, back to Tonelli. Keenan is just trying to get him to look away from the end zone. Laffy's going to throw and go with Copy. Copy uses it to drag him across. I thought he had that break available, but didn't. Decided not to go for it. DeLuca has Zani, hits him. This is fairly impressive end zone zoning by Ranelagh. But eventually, CUSB find a way. Brilliant patience. Laffy to Tonelli for the score.
11-11. Have you faced this kind of end zone defense from Ranelagh before? It's a lot of teams tend to go out of their zone when they get close to the end zone, but there have been some people, some theorizers saying actually it's better to play zone defense in the end zone because there's less space to cover. So you're covering spaces and you don't have to cover as much of it. I
prefer zone. I like sticking in a zone to the end zone. It was something we were never told to do. You always melted. And I do think the easiest time to get a turnover when playing zone, if you're playing it in like these kind of conditions, not too bad really, is in the melt. Because it's in that chaos that opportunity comes. And you can just pluck out, because players will think they have an open window without realizing or won't really know fully what's going on. Just go, that person's free, and they're not because there's just so much happening. You can kind of mimic that a little bit if you hold a zone all the way to the end zone. But good teams will always score against you because there are gaps. If you play zone all the way to the end zone, you're like, yes, there's not that much space for them to score. There's an entire pitch for them to get the dump off, though. Yep. So as long as they're patient, they shouldn't really turn over. And there was that moment earlier, I believe it was Copy. Arturo Laffy threw it to him, followed, went up the line. Copy let Arturo Laffy go across. One fake, and about 3 Ranelagh players all committed to it and opened up a lane to Zani, which he could have taken the shot of. And playing zones that deep into the end zone gives you that opportunity. As Feely there to field the pull, gets it to Rogers.
11-11 now the score. Getting close to the end of the game, and now a mistake by Ranelagh.
An unfortunate turn as it hits the turf. And here come the Italians, a big arcing shot to the end zone and collected for the score and breaking back 12-11 CUSB.
Luca Tognetti with a gutsy throw there. That's amazing D-line offense to put that up. Very, very, very good catch as well. 12-11, CUSB have retaken the lead. Ranelagh got to respond. That was just a throwing error, simple throwing error.
Nothing simple in these late stages of the European Championships. Every move you make has so much pressure on it. That is a fantastic grab. Nothing easy out here. Huge 12-11 score for CUSB.
So it's going to take, you were talking earlier about Ranelagh's heart, it's going to take that right now. Right now it's getting late in the game and CUSB retaking the advantage. They're going to have to keep fighting. I think they can still hang with them. They're going blow for blow with this team. They've got to keep fighting though, and according to you, that's what they do best.
There's no quitting these boys. And CUSB are finding that out the fun way by playing Ultimate. Well, it's fun if you win. I imagine they'll be emotionally devastated if they lose. But that is a discussion for 10 minutes time. Right now, the only concern is what's happening in front of you.
I'm a little concerned about the rain. For myself.
This might be Danu from Ireland just sending a little bit of love. Letting the boys know we're with you. Every raindrop a reminder. You deserve to be here. Feely has the shot to goal, doesn't take it. Waits for Noonan, and that's a nice little pop-up over the top, but really well sniffed out indeed. This is a crucial, crucial moment.
So now, usually it's the Irish import picking up the disc off the turn. Now the German import, Torben Horschmeier, had a big lashing backhand huck for a break in the first half. See what he does now.
Horschmeier goes to the break across, and it's an immediate turn. Feely's just burning deep. Nobody goes to pick it up too quick. Rogers. And Ranelagh get away with one. Down to Murphy. Continuing it, Doyle. On the edge there, Joe for the pop to Ferdia, and it's a difficult one to catch. Bit too high, and it flutters.
Timeout is called by La Fotta. They know that if they can punch this point in, it'll make it really hard for Ranelagh to come back.
This is a big, big moment. And like I've said a few times over games of the past 3 days, when you get to these attritional points, which is points with multiple turnovers, time and again we have seen the veteran team, the team used to being in these high-pressure situations at the tail end of the championships, come away with the score. I think there's 2 turnovers each way. Now with 3 for Ranelagh, starting on offense, all the other games I've covered, it's been the CUSB team that have been the ones to be able to take it away. But hopefully not, I guess.
We'll see, we'll see, we'll see if these Ranelagh boys keep fighting. I mean, they're able to put that pressure on any CUSB La Fotta O-line that comes out, or even their strict O-line, whether it's a D-line offense, any offense. These Ranelagh boys have amazing defensive power. So I don't doubt that they're going to come out fighting. Let's see if CUSB can hold on to their composure, take a break, extend their lead, or for Ranelagh, get it back. I'm going to take a moment here to shout out Tokai Cleats. They've been helping to sponsor ULTI.TV coverage throughout this whole weekend. Check them out. They've been helping to give us Commentary Source, which has been aiding us in providing you with great commentary throughout this tournament.
It's
Tokai Cleats,
fantastic.
Amazing, amazing shoes. There's quite a few of them out on the field here at this game and all around the tournament. Check them out. They also make sand socks now.
Oh.
Yeah.
By Frisbee players, for Frisbee players. Tokai Cleats and Tokai Sand Socks, apparently. So, Mastroianni, the maestro, disc in hand, bandana on, game ready. Can they put this, it's not the final nail, but it would be a significant one, into the dreams of Ranelagh? Huge pressure immediately from the Ranelagh boys. Trying to give them nothing, and they just get a little bit instead. Back to Mastroianni in the middle. That was not an easy grab. Underside snag. Doing what he can to get rid of Rogers. And there's a big huck downfield. Murphy is nearby, but not close enough. And there's the arcing one across. It's a nice shot. Big layout and a crucial grab and score. Fantastic stuff by Sebastian Rossi.
Rossi from Rimini. I guess CUSB get their lead up at 13-11. And all of a sudden things starting to turn. Ranelagh trying to put up those victory poses, trying to stay positive. But that's the kind of play that'll energize a team like CUSB. This is their D-line going on that roll, winning the game for when the O-line makes their mistakes. Ranelagh got that early advantage in this half, but CUSB definitely in the driver's seat right now, Lorcan.
13-11. They are now the same distance ahead of Ranelagh as they are short of the final. Ranelagh can come back. They did come back against Bad Skid. They have it in them, and they're certainly going to fight every step of the way. But like you said, and I just want to give you credit for it, you did say the offense was going to get smoother throughout the game. The defense was going to start working some things out, and they really have grown into the match. At the start of the second half, where Ranelagh were able to fight and come back, get the early break to kind of negate the soft break to an extent, and then the second one to get themselves into a commanding position was very impressive. But it does feel an awful lot like the Real 5 match. Yeah,
it feels very much like I guys seen this before. And what I said last year, or 2 years ago, is that if CUSB play offense like this against Clapham, it's not going to work. Clapham's not a team that's going to give it back to you as much. Ranelagh's playing well. Clapham's not a team that's going to give it back to you as much as this. But I said that last time, and I said there's no way CUSB is going to win this time around. But they proved me wrong. Their O-line was perfect against Clapham. So don't know anything about that yet. This game's still not over.
Each game is a different beast, Ravi, even if it's the same men trying to tame it. As CUSB hoping to put Ranelagh to bed. They'll take 2 more points to do it. Padraig Sweeney of Pelt stepping out there on the line to do his little bit against his old enemy. Barzazzi as well, so you can expect some highlight plays coming. Mastirani, Holden Schmuller. Or Homschmeyer?
Horschmeyer.
Horschmeyer. My apologies, a big pull, Luca Tognetti. And Noonan feels the weight of hope come down with that pull into his arms. Spreads it to Devi. And Feely juking and jiving and getting it just in front under intense defensive pressure. He doesn't want to give anything up easily. There seems to be a call.
Foul call on the play, foul call on the play.
Only half of the team has realized, and it's not the half with the disc.
That disc going way back.
Oh, so it's going back to Just. I thought they would have maybe sent it a little bit further back. Peters Barzazzi, another chance for some highlight plays there.
Has this Dutch import ever played for a Dutch team? I've never seen him before, I don't think.
I'm pretty sure he's Irish.
Joost Peters?
Yeah, that's an Irish name.
Yeah, it's definitely an Irish name.
Yeah, the old Peters clan from Connemara. Joost Peters. Gets hand blocked, or maybe it just slips out in the wet. Wasting absolutely no time in sending it down, or wasting an opportunity perhaps, Tognetti.
So Barzazzi maybe getting a piece of that, but then not going his way on the reception. Bit too far. Ranelagh back with it in hand. 13-11. CUSB still up.
Ben Noonan launches the break, really well taken by Peters, who wastes no time curving one himself. That's right into the path, comfortably collected by Murphy. Pops it to Devi, looks to get it back himself. Just short of the end zone line, Doyle hops it in, and that's a score, 13-12. That, I'm sorry to tell them, was the easy part.
Yes, that was a great offense, to be fair. Lashing it deep, putting those precision blades this time. They've thrown the blade, it hasn't gone their way every time. This time, really worked for them. Then just give go offense. CUSB could never catch up. Just trying to get those tiny little advantages. They had like 2 meters. It took them like 3 or 4 passes to get 2 meters. And they weren't gaining meters on every pass. It was very, very small distances there. But worked out for Ranelagh. Great offensive strike. But like you said, now they're going to get some breaks.
Those are the breaks. Hoping to stop the runaway train at one point with the rolling that CUSB were on. And they have. Big hold. 13-12.
We're going to need 2 more breaks and not a lot of time to do it.
They've got all the time they need. If they're capable of doing it, this would be when you do it. I believe in them. Certainly to bring it back to 13-13 right now. You can see they've done the same trick again, moving Rogers onto the D-line.
He's just briskly playing every point at this point. He's not really moving.
What's the over-under on those 2 points he would take off in the second half?
I haven't been counting, but I think maybe one. Maybe one.
Laffy. DeLuca. Few options deep, but waits till one appears under in the form of Zani. Gasparini cuts, but Jack Mack is hounding him every single step. I'm just working out when the stall will come back in. You can see Tonelli primed and ready. Angela as well. Laffy just working tirelessly, but Rogers is doing everything he can to keep him out. That's Tonelli. Great to see him back out there, clearly not too phased by the knock he took earlier. Zani hangs one up. Down there, really well taken in by Gasparini. Panic defense covers it initially, but they get the quick pop to Laffy, 14-12.
They're 1 point away, Lorcan, from finding themselves in a rematch of the final from 2 years ago against Clapham. Ranelagh, on the other hand, have a lot of work to do. This will be the last chance that the Ranelagh O-line will have to play this season. They got to punch this one in, and then it's up to the D-line to win the game.
This could be the last chance. But it's a great point. No. And everyone's going to really look forward to having a final between Clapham and CUSB. It's the grudge match, 2 years in the making that people want to see. But I don't know if you know about other grudges that might exist between other peoples that would also be quite entertaining. We'll see. CUSB have done 99% of the work. They now have 3 chances, effectively, 2 offensive ones, and a nice little fun D to get in there first to take this down. And that's a strong D-line they're putting out there. They want to end this right now.
So we're getting to the tail end of this semifinal matchup. It's been a great one so far. CUSB just getting that little run in the middle part of the second half to take the lead. And that's been the main difference. And you see the Italian sidelines are here in full force. The only Dublin compatriots that they have are playing a semifinal of their own, so Ranelagh and the disadvantage of the sideline game right now.
I think Pelter also playing a game right now, so there isn't a lot of Irish eyes smiling on this directly, but I'm sure there's plenty glued to their screens. Noonan spreads it wide to Rogers. Catches it in stride. There's the under, there's the deep. He goes with the under to the break side. Murphy, and then floats that one out. Huge bid, gets the touch. What a grab! DV! Dearie me!
My word, what a sequence of plays there. Tognetti getting huge for the layup block, but just macking it enough to make another spectacular play. That's all he did for us, just giving us a show.
We've been saying catch IDs a lot over the last three days. I think that's the first time I'm really happy that he didn't. Tognetti did everything he could. I mean, you can't really catch that. He must have hit that with a 1/4 inch of his cuticle, and it wasn't quite enough. DV is determined. He refuses to let Ranelagh go out like that. What a bid, what a grab. Phenomenal stuff.
So that's the last time we'll see the Ranelagh O-line this game, as you wisely said. Maybe not, we'll see. Saying the last of the season was a bit preemptive in case they do win this match and play Clapham tomorrow. I'm sure they'll get an O point or 2 in that one. However, right now they got to hold. Right now they got to get a break. They got to come out here on D. They got the hold. It's 2 breaks left. If they get the first one, first one's the hardest one. I think the second one will be a lot more of a tight universe point, anything happen, but this is the one they got to bring everything onto this point. Here we go, 14-13, CUSB trying to put it away. Ranelagh trying to extend it to universe.
Gasparini. He has Angela going deep, he has Tonelli coming under. He decides on neither of them, and that's a testament to the Ranelagh defense. Zani sliding to collect it. I thought he bobbled it, almost launches it. Downfield, huge grab by Angela, and Laffy books their place in the final. Congratulations to CUSB, commiserations to Ranelagh. That was beautiful offense by the Italians.
What a game, what a great catch by Angela. It's what he loves to do. Finally showed us his ups in the sky. Huge grab, and then Laffy just popping it in. 15-13, kind of feels a little anticlimactic after the previous point, but fantastic performance by both teams. Ranelagh should not hold their heads down. Amazing performance. They've never been to quarters before. They made it here fighting in this semi, 15-13 against the reigning champs. But tomorrow, Lurkin, we're going to have a rematch. We're going to have CUSB La Fotta versus Clapham.
That is something everyone will want to tune in and see. I personally cannot wait. It's going to be action on demand for free on YouTube with ULTI.TV. We've got one more round of games coming to you today. The 2 mixed semi-finals happening on either pitch. So I'll look forward to seeing you then. And until then, I've been Lorcan Murray.
I've been Rai Vasudevan.
And we'll see you next time.
ULTI.TV.